Singing Dutchman Productions. Hello and welcome to Doug's Front Porch, a podcast where I get to sit down with friends, old and new, and have honest conversations. Today I welcome Steven Perrin to the front porch, a relatively new friend, but one that, well, we'll talk more about how we became friends. But I will say this, that Steve, before I even introduce you, I want to say this right up front. Every time I walk into a room and you're there, I smile. So how's that? Welcome to the front porch, Steve.
Hey, Doug, how are you?
I'm doing great. So glad that you agreed to come on the show. You have some crazy life stuff that I want to talk to you about that I know the audience is really going to enjoy or hopefully get something out of it. But I like to start every episode the same way, and that is to give the audience an opportunity to get to know you a little bit or a little bit of a background. So I always ask this question. Tell us about where you grew up and what kind of kid were you? Was young Steve an athlete? Was he in music, art? Talk about young Steve for us a little bit, please.
All right, so I grew up in a small town in Western New York called Cuba, which is really fun now that I'm an adult, and I tell people, "Oh, I'm from Cuba." And they look at me and they're like, "You don't look Cuban at all." So yeah, that's always fun. Growing up, I don't know, I was weird. I played soccer, I swam, so you could say I was an athlete, but I was also kind of like into the punk rock scene and it was just weird. So yeah, really like just getting out there and doing some wild stuff. Like
So
in
when
high
when you when you
school.
say wild stuff, do you mean like nature stuff or like wild stuff?
You could say both. You could say both. Like I went to summer camp for like environmental conservation. But then at the same time, when I got home from that, I was at the skate park all day, every day. Yeah,
I did not know that you had a skater background. I'm
a little
learning
bit.
stuff already, Steve.
Right, right.
Okay. So, all right. Did you have brothers and sisters growing up?
Yeah, older brother, older sister. They're about a year apart from each other, and I'm like 4 or 5 years. So they were much more close together in like everything.
Okay. All right. So you get through your skater phase, your punk phase, and I don't think there's anything weird about that. I mean, I think that's great. But eventually the time comes to leave high school, and where does life take you?
Oh, I went all over the place. Went to Alfred State College, Cortland, SUNY Cortland. Did some stuff there, and then off to do like EMT stuff and paramedic stuff, and went to paramedic school.
All right, I want to get to that, but like when you were leaving high school, did you know did you have like oh, I want to be this when I grow up, or were you kind of like, I don't really know what I want to do?
Um, I was a political science major, um, and really the whole thing was like I wanted to help people. Didn't really know how or what to do to help people, but I just thought like that was the way to do it. Either I could go like eventually go to law school and do something like that, or work for an NGO, do some humanitarian stuff. But yeah, it was just to help people.
That becomes a big theme in your life, and I want to ask you, where do you think that sense of wanting to help people comes from?
Um, I don't really know. Like I know my parents had a big influence on that, you know. Both parents were very big into like doing things for others and not doing things for yourself. My mother was very selfless in that regard.
So you think maybe it's genetic. It was in you. You saw your parents and how they acted, and
I hope so.
it
Yeah.
instilled this idea of helping people. Okay, so you said you bounced around college, political science major, and then eventually you go this direction of EMT services. So let's talk about that. Where did that come from?
Um, so I was working at a Masonic youth camp in the Adirondacks, and one of the camp counselors on his day off, we got like one day off a week. It was wild. Um, he went out on like this uh like water skiing or whatever that is, tubing, water sports, fell off and just like he broke a couple ribs. Didn't know like we're in the Adirondacks, getting healthcare is difficult. So he kind of thought like going back and going to the like camp nurse would help. I mean, he was short of breath. He was just really messed up. Like we looked at him and when he came back and he was just bruised from like hip to chest. And um it got so bad that the camp nurse was like, I can't do anything for you. You have broken ribs. Like I'm concerned like you have like a popped lung or something. So we're calling you 911. And it was faster for the helicopter in the area to get there than the ambulance. So they landed in like one of our playing fields, and I was just standing there watching them like, holy cow, this is awesome. Like that's what I want to do. So
You had that. Some people get that, have that moment in life where they have. I just had a guest before you on the month before your episode where I had someone that had that kind of like, this is, I know this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. And you had that moment, which not everybody gets that in life.
right.
So as soon as you had that experience, did you literally like change directions? Or was it one of those things where you're like, man, I'd really like to do that, but I don't know, what are the steps I have to take? Or, well, I'll wait and see. Or were you direct? Like, this is it. I got to now do whatever it takes for me to get to that.
Yeah, it was pretty direct. It was like, all right, I know like I can take college credit for an EMT course. That's what I'm gonna do, and that's what I did. And it was cool.
Okay, so I have some basic questions about this whole aspect of your life. That maybe I'm just stupid that I don't know the difference between these things, but I'm guessing there's people out there listening to this that maybe don't know the difference too, and I want you to explain a couple terms to me. What is the difference between EMT and EMS?
Not really anything. EMS is just the overall umbrella of like emergency medical services. That just is the all-encompassing name of the profession. EMT is emergency medical technician. Um, in Pennsylvania, as well as many other states, there's different levels of that. So there's EMT, or AEMT in Pennsylvania, advanced EMT, and then EMTP, which is paramedic.
Okay, that was the other word that I think other people know is a paramedic. So is a paramedic different from from an EMT, or are they all the
Yes.
same thing? Oh, okay, what is
Yes.
that difference?
EMT is roughly a semester of schoolwork, of classwork. Um, Pretty easy, pretty basic first aid stuff with some basic medication administration. Paramedic, you have a whole different set of pharmacology, and you can read cardiac monitor, quote unquote, diagnose things and build a treatment plan off of that.
Okay. So we got that taken care of. So now you've decided this is what I want to do with this goal of being on a helicopter. And we'll talk about that. But how do you? So you went back, you finished, you got whatever degree you had to do or certifications you had to do. You got those out of the way. So what is the process then like for somebody that has this background that then wants to go all the way to be a flight paramedic? Like, how does that happen? What do you have to do to make that happen?
So most flight programs, you have to be a paramedic for like 3 years in a busy system. Busy is defined very loosely. It could be, 1,500 calls a year. It could be 2,000, a huge range. Um, and then you have to essentially self-study or take a course separate from your paramedic that is a critical care level course, basically ICU level. Um, and then take a board examination.
And okay, and I would imagine then there's as you're going through that process, you're spending time on a helicopter to get used to that. I mean, is there like
Not
a
necessarily.
not necessarily.
Yeah, yeah. I know quite a few people who take the board examination of FPC, Flight Paramedic Certified, um, and never set foot on a helicopter. It's just that entry level of critical care emergency medicine.
Okay, from someone looking at it from the outside of this world, I find that absolutely insane because I would think it's one thing. It's one thing to get on an ambulance, which we're used to getting into something that's on the ground and you're doing your job. I think it has to be a whole nother level to step onto a helicopter and do that same job? Or am I just isn't it that different? I don't know. You tell me.
It is quite a bit different. I like to say when you're stepping into that realm, you come from an area where you're like big fish in a little pond, and then you get into the world of flight or critical care EMS, and you are now like little tiny fish in a huge pond where you don't know what is going on, and you're now, 3,000 feet in the air going, holy cow, is this real?
And I think most people are pretty aware that if life flight or if a flight paramedic gets called, that means whatever you're there walking into, it's not good.
Yeah,
Usually, whether it's really
usually.
bad car accidents or things like that. Were you? I mean, you knew that, you understood that going into this line of work. Uh, were you ready for it?
Um, there was definitely part of me that was not ready. Um, I worked in the city of Auburn, city of Cortland, oh, county of Cortland, and around the city of Syracuse in New York. And some of the stuff I had in there, I never saw on the helicopter, but there's some stuff that I had, first couple of weeks on the job as a flight paramedic that one, I'll never forget. Two, I was definitely not prepared, for some of the stuff.
So how do you deal with that? Like, how did you deal with that? I mean, it's baptism by fire, I guess. You're on that helicopter. You got someone's life in your hands. Is it just you just block everything out and you try to focus on what's at hand? Or how did you find yourself overcoming those initial flights where you were like, "Oh my God, I don't know what have I gotten myself into?" Or, those kinds of feelings and emotions.
So one thing that even before I started flying, when I was a supervisor up in for the one agency that I worked for in New York, I was very big on mental health. I mean, we see the worst of the worst in, America, right? The land of opportunity, and we're seeing people living in squalor, people having the worst days of their lives, and we're usually the first people who see that and who deal with that. So I was always very big on mental health and trying to teach my coworkers, teach colleagues, mental health tips, coping mechanisms. So for me, kind of dealing with some of the stuff that I jumped into when I went into flight wasn't so much of a stretch. It was just more or less now instead of teaching these to colleagues, I have to actually learn and utilize these coping mechanisms.
So we talk about, I mean, those are topics that are much more prevalent in society today, and we're talking about it way more than we ever have in the past. For all professions, whether we're talking about the medical industry or public ed, where we have teachers that are trying to do coping mechanisms and all these kinds of things with
Yeah.
with the trauma that we're dealing with. But if you were doing this years ago, I mean, you had to be out on the edge in that sense. How did you come to a knowledge of dealing and coping with these mental health issues at a time when probably most people still weren't really all that aware, cognizant, talking about it, etc.?
I mean, it kind of went back to like my college, studies of like psychology and that. Um, EMS and really public safety is very much like an eat your young type of thing. Like, this is your job, this is what you signed up for, brush it off and get back to work. And, I had a very traumatic call pretty early on in my career. Not to get into the nitty-gritty details, but it was like a 2 week, a week old, weeks old infant who was, you know, essentially dead. And we worked on that kid for a while, and it was my first ever. And I kind of walked away from that like, holy crap, w- is this really right for me? Like, what's going on? And I had two supervisors show up to the station after that. One was that old school mentality of like, hey, this is your job, deal with it. Like, there's another call, get back out there. And the other one was like, hey, if you need a break, like, go sit down, like, I'll take the call. Like, go sit down, take a rest, hang out, and, we'll talk. Um, and that kind of showed me like, oh, you can be like caring and considerate of your employees, of your coworkers, and still do the job.
I was going to ask you a question in regards to a story you just talked about, and I get you kind of already answered it. I was wondering, I was going to ask you if it'd be okay to talk about what it was like the first time you had a patient pass away on you, or that you lost, and how. I mean, you shared a story already. I mean, if you want to share another story, you're more than welcome to. But like that was the other thing I was going to ask you about is as you know, as you deal with. I mean, there's very few professions out there where a person is having to deal with life or death situations and the pressure that comes with. I can't imagine what the pressure must be like for those of you in that profession of paramedics and on the helicopters and of course in hospitals too. But as you've gotten older and you've been doing this for years and years, have you found it easier to deal with the stress, the trauma that comes with this type of a job, or hasn't it been easier?
I'd like to say it's gotten easier. Some have. Y- not to sound callous here, but a lot of people, say like, "Oh, you're a lifesaver, you're a lifesaver," and I'm like, "Nah, I'm not." Like, I can count on one hand the people that I've like legitimately saved, from a cardiac arrest or a horrific trauma. I I shifted my mentality to like I gotta save everybody to I gotta give them a chance for family to say goodbye. Um, for me, that's more important than trying to get them back.
Where did that
So
where did that mind shift come from?
I honestly don't know. It just kind of occurred to me one day, like a lot of times we focus so much on trying to get the patient back than letting them have like or letting their family rather have that chance to say goodbye. Um, and if that means getting them to the hospital where we're still working on them or we're still like trying, that's fine. Like I don't need to have a save in the back of the ambulance. I don't need to have a save at the hospital or in a home. What keeps me going is if that patient's going to pass, I want the family to be able to be to have that moment to say goodbye.
What's the burnout rate like in your profession? Is it high?
Oh, yeah, super high. This was a few years ago, probably 10 years ago, but I think there was like in central New York, at least, there was an attrition rate of like 65 to 70% after 5, 10 years. Like if people made it to 10 years, that was like, holy cow, you're an old timer now. It was like 5 years was kind of the limit.
That's crazy. I just can't. I mean, I've watched it. I mean, of course, it's TV and movies. I mean, I've seen enough. I've watched enough shows that they try to. I guess they try to replicate these situations, but I can't imagine what it must be like to actually be in those situations. And I guess the other thing I wanted to ask you about, and this deals with like how you deal with stress and so forth, but when you're in that moment and you're on a call, or like when you were up in that helicopter, how did you, and I guess that I'll be curious, what were your tips and tricks? How did you departmentalize everything and focus? How were you able to focus on what you needed to do?
So without going into like this tunnel vision of I need to focus solely on the patient, which is a real danger in EMS. You get what we call distracting injuries. You have a patient with this gnarly broken arm with bones sticking out, but you're missing the uh, blood, filling up the sac around the heart, you know. Um, so that's a big danger. So it's really you have to kind of take that step back. Um, I do, and I learned this from a mentor who was a nurse. It's just a 60-second situational, setup where you stop, you take a breath, and you look around. It doesn't always take 60 seconds, but it just takes a couple seconds to really take a holistic view of what's going on. I have the patient, I see, head to toe what's going on. What else could be going on? What else is there that I'm not seeing? And that really helps kind of keep you on track of, don't look at solely this injury or this, incident. but look at the whole picture.
So you're not flying anymore. You've
Correct.
transitioned to a new job. So let's talk a little bit about that. Can you tell us what's your new position, and then I have a couple questions for you about it.
Yeah. So I am now the EMS manager of Pleasant Gap Fire Company.
Okay, so what does that mean?
I run the day-to-day ops of an ambulance company inside of associated in a fire company.
Okay, so you have tons of experience. You've been doing this for years, and now you're in a position where you are probably the mentor for some of these paramedics and EMTs that are under your care. Do you enjoy that new responsibility?
I do. I do. I really do. Besides all the paperwork and, dealing with the Bureau of EMS and the regional council and all the, you know, tedious stuff, um, I really try and, get to know a little bit about the crews that I have, all the employees. If they have a tough call, I, either make myself available, or if it's in the middle of the night and I hear about it, early on in the morning, I'm going to reach out to them and see if they're okay, see what I can do to help. Luckily, that hasn't really happened, and the few times that it has, the crews have just been phenomenal, and they're like, "No, we're good. Like, thank you for reaching out. Like that's awesome. No one's really done that."
Um, so I have some questions too, like nuts and bolts about this whole process that, I mean, many people, EMS services have touched their lives, whether it was for them personally or a family member or a friend. But how does it all work? So you're now at a fire company that also has ambulance services.
Yep.
So let's start with the big question. Where's the money come from?
Um, Insurance and Medicaid, Medicare,
O-
largely.
Okay, so it's not like do you guys have to like fight for state grants and things like that?
Occasionally, we are starting to look into getting a state grant for a new ambulance. And that's going to be it's a large state grant, so I don't think we're going to have much of an issue to get some money. It's not going to pay for the ambulance, but it'll help.
That's a question. Like, if I often wonder about that. So, if you guys need a new ambulance, like, what do you do? Are you not having like bake sales and car washes? I mean, can you solicit donations and things like that?
We can. We specifically can because we are associated with a volunteer fire company. Um, some for-profit ambulance companies can't. They can do like bake sales, but they can't really ask for donations
So
per se.
there is a difference between there are for-profit ambulance companies out there, and then there are ones that are attached to a like a volunteer fire company that is for they and those are
Yeah,
not for profit.
yeah, there are for-profit, there are non-for-profit, hospital-based, and fire-based.
So out of that Medicaid money and insurance money, that's where everybody gets paid then as well. Like your actual techs and all that are getting paid that
Pretty
way.
much. Yeah.
Okay. Is there ever, I probably I know the answer to this question, but does that mean that your funding is constantly like you're always wondering if there's going to be enough money, or is that usually not the issue?
Absolutely. I think that is always a concern. Um, you know, we have a horrible like reimbursement rate from CMS, the Centers for Medicaid Medicare Services. Uh, we can bill, I think for a basic life support EMT service call, we will bill probably roughly $1,000 plus, $12 a mile or something like that. Out of that, we may see a couple hundred, 300, 400.
Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't have any like you can't
It-
can you fight it? You're like, no, the check comes in, whatever it's for, that's what we
Pretty
get.
much. Yeah. Yeah.
Has the system is okay. So I did have a couple of questions, and not to bring politics or anything into this, but I mean the reality is you're in this world. You are living this day to day. Um, is the system functioning?
The healthcare system?
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
from your perspective. Okay.
No, I think healthcare is one of the uh, most broken systems that we have in this country. Um, I, it's seriously one of those, the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. There are um, people going into such debt because they have chronic issue, health issues. Um, Whether it's from being picked up by an ambulance all the time because they can't drive, they don't have the means to drive, or they are stuck in a hospital for, days, weeks, months.
Has there been a situation where you haven't been able to go answer a call?
Not at our station.
Oh,
Other
but
than
that does happen in places.
e- there have been times, I mean, I won't say that we haven't been able to answer a call. If we're already out on other calls and something comes in our area, yeah, we can't go. But that's not often.
But then the system would hopefully find
Yeah,
another
yeah,
EMT service that could go.
yep.
Okay, okay. I had no idea about how the billing and all that kind of stuff works, and that you guys don't have any
Oh
say in
yeah,
any of
yeah.
that. Are there, I mean, have you heard of people at the state level that are trying to work to fix this problem? I mean, is there active?
Yeah.
There is? Okay.
We every every year in May we have an EMS on the Hill Day in both the state capitol and the federal capitol. Um, where we go, we talk to our state senators, we talk to our legislators in the federal government as well, and just kind of lead our cases of like, hey, we're essential services. We are here to serve the people, and we're not getting the money. Can you like press on Medicaid, Medicare? Can you press on private insurance companies and see what you can do?
I'm sure they say yes, but then
Right, right. They give you know, the politician answer.
so you've highlighted there's some issues for sure. What are we doing right though?
Um, I mean, in this area, I think the amount of care that is available for people is awesome. Um, you have a local hospital, you have larger hospital entities, you have, Geisinger, UPMC, Hershey, Penn Highlands. They're all relatively close in this area where, you have access. There is plenty of access in this area. Other places, maybe not so much, but I think access is one thing that is improving.
Do you guys have a hard time finding new EMTs? Like, is there a recruiting system of some kind, or how do you get new people interested in a field that definitely is takes a certain kind of person?
So thankfully, with us being so close to Penn State University, we have a lot of college students who take an EMT course for college credit. And now they have this, they need a place to work for, the summer during the semesters. So they come to a lot of different places. We get a lot of them. So that's really nice. So EMTs, we don't really have a recruitment issue. It's the paramedics that we struggle to recruit, and they're harder to find.
Is it because there's just not a lot of people out there that are willing to do it, or because it doesn't pay enough, or the requirements are too much, or what do you think it is?
Um, all of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah, all of the above.
Is it the same for the helicopter crews, or is that because that's more like a little bit more appealing, maybe that,
Um,
or do they struggle too? What do you think?
I mean, they struggle on the paramedic side, just because, I mean, that's more of the requirements. That's a really big pitfall. Um, they struggle to get people who are adequately prepared, adequately trained prior, who take the certification exams, um, and they just either flunk out or they just don't apply. There's also that subgroup of paramedics who don't think that they're good enough to fly, and a lot of them are.
Takes the right person just to push them in that
Yeah,
direction, you think?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Give me three things that the average person doesn't know about your line of work that they should know.
Oh man, that's a tough one. Um, Probably my favorite is we are paid to do the work that we do, and sometimes that is sitting at the station watching TV with our feet up. Um, there's a there's a joke. EMS really means earn money sleeping, but
Okay.
you know, uh, the it's not a one and done type of you don't get your initial paramedic certification and you're good. It is, every 3 years, every 2 years, depending on where you go. You have to do so many hours of continuing education, con ed, to maintain that certification. And the last, probably, you know, kind of important one is uh, it's unhealthy. It is horribly unhealthy. Most people are eating fast food all the time. They work 12-hour shifts, so getting time at home to have a home cooked meal, to have time to exercise, to, stay active, it's really not there. We are lucky that we do have like a little weight room area in our station, so that helps. And I mean, we have again those college kids who really kind of push a lot of the full timers into saying like, "Oh man, this kid just rode his bike from State College to Pleasant Gap. Like, holy cow!" So,
Okay, so we've painted a little bit of a dark picture here at the end, so I need you to brush
yeah.
it up at the good. So give me the, why do you continue to do it?
Um, Really, it's a thankless job, and that's okay. But it is the simple things, holding the scared little old lady's hand on the way to the hospital, where we drop her off and she just mouths "thank you." That does it for me. That keeps me in. Um, Couple years ago, in when I was still in New York, we had oh gosh, he was five or six. He was a drowning victim. We successfully resuscitated him, and every year on the day that we resuscitated him, he would come to the station and bring a card, give the crew a hug, and it just like it's that stuff. It's those, you know, seemingly little things, like the little old lady who's scared and you comfort her and she, has no one to thank, so she thanks you for that. To the little kid who just gets a second chance at life and just gives you a hand-drawn card every year. That's what does it.
Well, I mean, I find it all extremely fascinating, given, and I have no background knowledge other than just talking to people like you. Have another friend that is a former medevac paramedic as well, and out in the Pittsburgh area, and she's told me tons of stories too. I mean, I can't thank you enough for what you do, and all of you guys that are doing this stuff. I mean, it is a thankless job, and you're put under. Yeah, there's times where you're sitting with your feet up watching TV, but when that call comes, it's
Yeah.
game on, right? It's
Yeah, it
yeah.
is a shot of adrenaline, and you're out the door saying, okay, I know that we were told general illness, but that is far too general. It could be a million things.
Or a car accident or something like that. You guys are
Yeah.
just shoved into situations that, oh, thank you. Thank you, Stephen, for all you do, and
Hey, thank you.
tell all those people that you work with that we share that as well. But I'm done talking shop. I got all my questions answered that I wanted to know from you in regards to that, and I think you know what's coming next because you do listen to the podcast. It's time for your 10 quick questions, so we get to know Steve a little bit better. And
Oh man.
I'm curious because I was thinking today, I wonder what he's going to say for this, and I kind of came up with answers in my mind, and I want to see if I'm right based on what you're about to say.
Oh
Okay,
man.
here we go, brother. No, you're gonna be fine. This is gonna be great. Number one, what is your morning drink of choice?
Coffee, black.
Coffee black. Have you? How old were you when you started drinking coffee?
17.
Okay, and is that? I mean, is that given your profession? Is coffee pretty popular as a drink?
It used to be a lot more popular. Now it's all energy
Oh,
drinks.
those monster drinks
Yeah.
and things like that. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. All right. Okay. Number two, who is a go-to musical artist or group for you?
Uh, right now I am on like a Joe Strummer kick.
Who's that? Or what kind of
He
music's that?
was he was the lead singer of The Clash.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, Joe Strum. Yeah, then he went
Okay.
off on his own. Yeah, Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros, Joe Strummer. Those
Okay.
are two
Yeah.
like,
I
yeah.
didn't put two and two together. What the heck's wrong with me, Doug? Come on. All right. That's a good answer. Okay. All right. Number three. What movie can you watch over and over again and it never gets old?
Oh, The Princess Bride.
Ah, good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer. Is
Yeah.
there a movie out there that depicts EMT and that world well?
Probably the best is Bringing Out the Dead with
Okay.
Nicolas Cage.
Oh, I've never seen
Um,
that. Okay.
it's a Scorsese film. It really kind of examines the burnout, the trauma that EMTs paramedics face. It's really good.
Bring out your dead, or like the Monty
Bringing Out
Python
the
line?
Dead.
Bringing out the dead.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bringing
It's
Out the
not a
Dead.
little different from the Monty
Yeah,
Python
no,
line. Okay.
not Monty Python.
Okay. It's a movie I'm not aware of. Okay. All right, cool. What's the last thing that you read?
Oh man. Does it count that I'm reading like
Yeah,
five
sure.
books right now? Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So I am reading right now Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday, a book by Chuck Dunning. It's his newest one. Um, I can't remember the name of it. Uh,
Have you always been one of these guys that reads multiple books at the same time?
that's been in the past probably 10 years that
Okay.
I've started to do that. I'm a big fantasy fiction reader too, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
also reading R.A. Salvatore. I'm somewhere in the Drizzt Do'Urden saga,
Do you have to read a
book
lot for your
20.
work, for your job?
You can. Um, yeah, some people don't. I do have quite a few books about different topics on EMS and different, subspecialties, the critical care stuff to general medical books. Like I have this boring book on lab values and yeah, if I'm having trouble sleeping, I open that one.
Sounds good. All right, number five. What is your favorite pizza topping?
I'm gonna catch so much hate for this.
Go ahead.
Pineapple.
That's nothing. I listen. Let the
Oh, not from you. Not from
let the
you. Yeah.
haters hate.
Yeah, yeah.
I have no issues with it. And
I'm a
people,
I'm a big like salty and sweet kind of
yeah,
guy. So
yeah,
like yeah, give me that savory, give me that sweetness.
yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. It's not. I mean, that's not my go-to pizza topping, but I enjoy it. These people, these haters out there, just let them
Yeah.
talk. Just let them talk. I think they like to talk just to hear themselves talk sometimes. You
Right,
know what I
right.
mean?
It's just static.
Yeah, it is. It is. All right, number six. Laying on the beach or going for a hike.
Oh, going for a hike.
I
My
figured
wife and
that.
I are big hikers.
Are you a beach guy at all?
Uh, I will use the beach to get into the water,
Okay.
and I'll just be in the water the rest of the day.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, number seven. You have invited me over for dinner. What are you making?
Oh man.
So first off, are you a cook? Do you like to cook?
I do like to cook.
Okay.
What I mean, is it just you coming over spur of the moment type of thing? Like, hey, Doug, what are you doing?
Uh, you make the
Or
call. It
oh
could be
man,
it could
so if it's that, I'm probably gonna do some steaks on the grill. Um, just quick, easy, simple steaks. Do my wife? I will tap her in for this. She makes this phenomenal quinoa salad stuff
Okay. Yeah.
with feta cheese. Oh, phenomenal. Um, if it's something a little bit more thought out and planned, like New Year's Eve party or something like that, I will probably do something a little more fancy, beef Wellington.
Oh my goodness, from scratch. Look at
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Oh, man, I'm gonna have to. Hey, I'd like to take you up on that beef Wellington dinner sometime. I like beef Wellington.
all
All
right,
right, we'll make that happen sometime this winter. How's that sound?
cool,
All
cool.
right, number eight. What's a dream vacation destination of yours?
Uh, Switzerland.
Ooh, man, I'm telling you, like you gotta go.
Yeah.
Switzerland is top notch. Let me tell
We
you.
For some reason, like both of my wife and I, our Instagram feeds are just like, oh, take this hike in Switzerland, do this backpacking trip in Switzerland. So we're like, we should really go. The
Yeah,
universe is telling us something.
I get all those feeds. Those show up in my feed as well. I can give you a couple that show you Germany and Austria too while we're at it.
This
So
sounds
you'll be
good.
right there.
This sounds good.
All right, number nine. What is something that you're afraid of?
Ooh, man, this is gonna get deep. Failure.
Okay. That's
I like failing my family. Like I have a gosh, he's now gonna be like 11 months. 11-month-old little guy. Like I'm afraid to fail him as a father. I'm afraid
Mhm.
to fail my wife as a husband. Like all that kind of just, yeah.
Well, I've known you a couple years now, and I've never seen you do anything in even directly, even close to failing.
Ah,
So I think you're going to be okay. Do you have any irrational fears like spiders or mice or snakes or anything like that?
oddly, like I have this really weird thing about heights.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you do ladders?
I can do ladders. And working in a helicopter, you would think like,
Yeah,
oh, he's not
yeah.
afraid of heights, but no, we hiked Angel's Landing in Zion National Park,
Uh-huh.
and there's a part where it's, like 1,000 foot drop, and you're holding on by like a chain. Yeah, no, I got about 5, 10 feet into
Couldn't do
that,
it.
and I said,
Yeah.
nope, I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
done.
I'm finding the older I get, that kind of stuff never bothered me, but now it's starting to. So no, I hear you. I hear you. Okay, okay. All right, last question. What job other than one that you've had would you love to have?
Hmm. Teacher.
Really?
And I'm not just saying that because you are. Um, no, like I was a big history buff in high school, and I kind of thought that that would be a good like
So
fallback.
like a high school social studies
Yeah,
teacher.
yeah.
I think you'd make an excellent teacher,
Cool, man.
and we need them. So if you ever want to change gears, I think you'd make an excellent teacher. You have all the qualities. You do. You
Oh,
absolutely do. Yeah. And a winning smile to boot. So, Steve, it's been so glad. I'm so glad that you agreed to come on here and have this conversation with me. I really respect you. I want to say this to your
oh
face. I
man.
mean, digitally to you anyway.
Digital. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, when I first got to know you, I didn't know your whole background professionally, and then as I've gotten to know you and you've shared stories with me, and now I've learned even a lot more today. I have the utmost respect for what you do and for you
Thank you.
because you are a top-notch person. I just want to tell you that you really, really
Thank you,
are.
Doug.
Um,
Likewise.
no, I appreciate hearing that. But I'm glad you came on the show and shared these stories with us. It's not the easiest stuff to talk about, and but I think it's important. I wanted my audience to hear from you and hear your voice. So thank you so much for coming on the front porch.
Hey, thank you for having me. I enjoyed this and look forward to talking to you in, real life.
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? All right. Take care, my friend.
Hey, thank you, Doug.
Thank you for listening to Doug's Front Porch, a conversational podcast with your host, Doug Maidenford. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Your ratings and reviews will help others find the show. You can follow along on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Just look for Doug's Front Porch. If you would like to financially support our endeavors, there's a Buy Me a Coffee link in the show notes. I thank you in advance for any contributions. Please feel free to tell all your friends about the show, and I'll see you all next time on my front porch.